I want you to imagine that winter is a distant memory and every day is filled with new opportunities and great new discoveries. I want to share with you my journey from Minneapolis to the sun-soaking paradise of Miami. I recently took a trip from Minneapolis, Minnesota, all the way to Miami, Florida. And I have to tell you, this trip was amazing. All right, so the question you're probably asking, why Miami? I've been living in Minneapolis my whole life. I was born and raised here, unfortunately. And I don't know if it's just me, but these last few years have just not been cutting it. Since like 2020, I want to say things have gotten kind of worse here. I can't do it no more. I can't. So now I'm contemplating on where else should I move. It can't really have winters. It needs to be pretty much warm all year round. That's pretty much my only rule. When it came down to some of my choices, I was thinking California, Texas, or Florida. Now, I could just start talking a bunch of shit about all these different places, but I'm not going to. Of course, there's a list of things not to like about these places, but I would say the main reason for wanting to get out of Minneapolis, though, is I don't want to deal with the cold no more. In all seriousness, I did look at the pros and cons of each areas, and I'm really just feeling that South Florida area. Something about not even just Miami, but the cities around and just being on that side of Florida just is drawing me and calling for my attention. So let's talk about the next thing. All right, now it's time to research what it's like to actually relocate to a whole new city. So in this case, I guess it would be cross country, right? Because I'm going from north all the way to south. You know, I'm taking my talents down the South Beach, baby. No, in realness, though, it is about getting everything that I have here at my crib down to Florida. Plus, there's some other things. So, first of all, I have to create a list here. So, I think the first thing is like finishing up loose ends that I have right now in Minneapolis. And if you're thinking about doing this too, in terms of just moving to a new city, whether it be Miami or whatever other city you're thinking about moving to, I would say these things are probably going to be the same for you as well too. So finishing up loose ends in the current city, just make sure that you're planning around it or just finishing those loose ends before you end up leaving. You could have debts, you could have other things. The other thing to consider when moving cross country is, of course, the moving costs. And so you just got to have the extra money needed to move into some of these places. Of course, you need to consider the time of year that you're moving. I wanted to move within these next few months, but I realized that it's hurricane season. At least that's what they say, hurricane season. And so just heavy storms and things like that. So I just have to be aware of that when I'm moving down there. And then other than that, I would just say make sure that, you know, income is looking good for you or whatever job you have. That it could be done either in Florida or you find a new one down there or you figure it out. Because I would say living down there was really expensive. So yeah, let's figure this out. Is that for like a 1-bedroom to 2 bedrooms to maybe even a studio? You end up having to do leasing through a landlord who purchased out the condo from a condominium some time ago. And so a lot of these different places, you usually have to go through a realtor to actually get either a showing or to even get the process going to actually get the place of living, condo or apartment, however you want to call it, or townhome. But yeah, usually you have to do an interview with the HOA, which could be in person or virtual, and they have to approve you as well. And then of course you have to do the whole application process, and that's a little bit different than Minneapolis because we normally just have apartment complexes. You talk to a leasing agent and they get you signed in and you're done. This is like a couple step process where you have to do a few more things, plus have a little bit more extra money up front in order to move into these places. So it's just a little different. Now it's time to dive into Miami's gems. I'm going to show you what I found that makes moving to the city even worth it. Fly. It's really nice out here. I didn't think I wanted to live downtown, but now that I'm like walking around and stuff, I kind of want to live downtown here. It's kind of nice. Look at these buildings. I was gonna say something else too. Something about like the people here. They're pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. Met some interesting individuals already, but I don't know. More to come, I guess. Shit. Alright, so after spending a few days in Miami, I definitely can say that this place is a melting pot of just different cultures. They have a lot of different beaches and canals that connect to them. The food scene there is really good. They have so many options you can choose from. The nightlife is just crazy. You can stay up pretty much to the sunrise. They have iconic architecture, so buildings just have the coolest layouts ever. They also have a lot of different sport teams out there, so if you're a sports fans, you can also have a great time. I was watching the Heat games as they were playing in the finals, and there's so much more. Like, there's a cycling community out there, and so if you're into cycling, I want to pick that up more. It's out there. And then when it comes down to just that weather, the weather was kind of interesting. It would usually be hot, of course, that's what everybody wants, but it would rain, and if it does, it would rain for like a good hour, maybe 2, but it could be like heavy rain, so it could like low-key be flooded in the area really quick, and then it'll be usually gone by the next day. But other than that, if it did rain for a bit, it rained for maybe an hour tops, maybe two, that's pushing it, and then it was dry after that. Went right back to the sun being out, and it felt really good. So I'll share with you a little story about my first 10 minutes. So when I say my first 10 minutes, this is basically me getting off my flight, going to the car rental place that's connected to the terminal, and then leaving. So now the timer has started. I have the card and I'm driving to get to my first destination. I kid you not, I'm at this light and they cut me off to go to the straight lane, and I had my windows down already because I just wanted to feel that heat. And the dude ended up rolling down his window, and he had those crazy dreads that come out to the sides. I don't know how they stay that way. And before you know it, I was at gunpoint. I don't know what the hell he was saying. I'm assuming he was speaking whatever Haitians speak, Creole or Creole. I forgot how you say it. I don't want to disrespect them, but yeah, just like that. And I was like, it's not even that serious. And then of course he rolls his window back up. As soon as the light turns green, this dude's weaving through everybody and like driving on the shoulder of the highway. So that was my introduction to driving down there. And I will say, from what I've heard on the internet and things like, oh my God, people in Florida do not know how to drive. They drive like crazy ass motherfuckers. It's over. The fun's over. So now it's back here in Minneapolis. All right, so let's go over some of these takeaways. The main thing is that I do want to move away from Minneapolis. That is number one. And two, I'm really feeling Florida. Like, that's just the place I want to be. So how do I get down there? Well, I have some things I need to do. I have some moving costs that I'm going to have to endure in order to get down there. And I'm going to have to do another trip possibly to really confirm which city I want to live in. But my top 2 cities would definitely have to be Brickell and Aventura. Those 2 cities got my attention, and I would definitely move to those cities. One was like a downtown Minneapolis in comparison, right? And then the other one is equivalent to like an Eden Prairie. So both of those cities are definitely nicer than the Minneapolis version, so it's not even funny to compare them. But that is the comparison if you're here. Just 10 times better each city. And then other than that, if you want to support me, I think I'm going to do something in the description. So look it up, help me get down there. And yeah, peace.